You will never amount to anything.
We shall see, brother.
All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Zen from Zen World, and I hope you're having a great day. So we have a versus battle today, and this versus battle goes to Jean Grey of the X-Men or Marvel Comics versus John Stewart, also known as Green Lantern. Okay, so we're going to get started. We're going to talk about these characters in their entirety. Not so much about their publication history, but more so about their powers and abilities and personality, right? So powers, ability, personality, right? So we're going to just jump into Jean Grey first. Now, Jean Grey is a mutant, right? And a mutant is basically a humanoid that possesses ability, right? Some form of genetic mutation. Now, for her, she has the ability of telepathy, and she has the ability of telekinesis. Now, one of those powers are pretty prominent, and that one goes to telepathy. Now, in terms of Marvel Comics, she is described as an Omega level mutant. Now, Omega level mutant simply means, right? It's not simple, but it means that her potential is unbounded, right? It doesn't have a prison on it, right? Now, her potential hasn't been shown to the highest echelon in the comic books, but we have gotten hints of it, right? So again, Omega level just means that her powers are the potential hasn't been seen, right? Or the potential is limitless to where it could go based on the imagination of the person at hand. Now, through the comic books, Jean has been shown to just be able to read someone's mind in the beginning of the comic books, and also having the ability to simply just move things using telekinesis, right? Moving a big boulder or rock, right? Now, over time, she has grasped the ability to really deep dive into those powers. So I'm going to show you some pictures so that we can look at some of those feats in its entirety, right? Now, these pictures are not going to go in order. And one thing that I'm leaving out for those of you who are accustomed to Marvel Comics and comic books in general is that I am going to leave out her potential and powers in combination with the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix is an entity, a multi-universal entity that represents life, death, rebirth, right? Now, I am not speaking to any of those abilities. I'm simply speaking to the ability that she has for her mutant powers, right? So let's jump into some pictures so that I could tell a tale of her abilities. Now, this one, using her telepathy, she's able to simply create an alternate, I would say, reality inside someone's head. She's able to put someone through the aspect of making them feel as if they're going through a nightmare, a living nightmare, right? So, for lack of a better word, she can make someone go inside of their head, live a reality within the span of 5 seconds, and then they'll feel like they were there for eternity itself, right? So that just kind of gives you an inclination of her abilities. It sounds vastly powerful, and it is, rather. Here's another picture, just kind of showcasing her ability. And this one, if you look at the bottom, right, is her using global telepathy, right? Now, global telepathy meaning that she's able to globally communicate with every single person on the planet on a global scale to transmit a message, right? Or understanding or imagery so that everyone could understand. Now, that alone is um, wildly unimaginably powerful. So, but it is something that she is able to do later on in the comics. Now, when I say later on, more or less the current comic books, right? Does it take a toll on her body? Absolutely. It takes one of the biggest tolls on her body because, as you could hear, it's on a global scale, right? Let's look at another picture so that we could get some kind of understanding of her power. Now, this is just a picture of her reconstructing Emma Frost in her diamond form. Now, Emma Frost is a telepath as well, and she has a secondary mutation which enables her to turn into diamonds. Now, there was a point where her diamond form was completely shattered. Now, Jean Grey was able to use telepathy in order to reconstruct her body, right? Which alone is crazy, right? To be able to mend someone's body while reconstructing them in a diamond form, which means it's kind of, think about it like this. She's able to, if a piece of glass drops on the floor, right, and it shatters into a million pieces, she has been able to reconstruct it and bring it back together, right? Uh, it's pretty intense, pretty amazing, but it's, what she's able to do. Now, even though I'm not speaking to the Phoenix Force itself, now the two characters have been, for lack of better words, been part and parcel to each other, right? So much that when she's lost the Phoenix Force, she's still enabled Phoenix-like beings, right? So, for example, you could see the psionic Phoenix that she's constructed, which is comparable to the Phoenix Force itself at this given time, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, as you can hear, Phoenix is pretty powerful. There's so much that's going on with not Phoenix, but Jean Grey rather, that it sends a question. Um, how powerful is she, right? Here's another picture that a lot of people haven't seen before, and this is a picture of her kind of ripping apart Apocalypse from his celestial based armor, right? Now, usually when we see Apocalypse, we see that formal face, but remember that his age, he has aged over time, right? And so this picture kind of gives way to that separation of the two, like he's an old man, things of that nature, right? Um, so yeah, it's really cool to see how far Phoenix could go, right? And now we're gonna get into John Stewart now. We're gonna get into some pictures for our friend John Stewart. We spent quite a bit of time on Jean Grey as her entirety as a mutant and Omega level mutant. Now, while I'm taking away some of these pics, we're just gonna kind of review her reconstructing Emma Frost, her using global telepathy, and remember, I didn't say this earlier. She's only a Omega level mutant in one ability, right, or one power. So all Omega level mutants, they're not. Say if they have two different powers or three different powers, they only could be Omega level on one scale, right? So, for example, she's only a Omega level mutant in terms of telepathy. Hence her ability to use global telepathy right here, right? Sans, what's going on? Steven, what's going on? So now, this is her ability. This is just her in her entirety. So now let's get into John Stewart himself, right? So for John Stewart is a Green Lantern, one of the most profound and strategic um, Green Lanterns. He is currently the leader of the Green Lantern Corps, and it's no mistake that he's the leader of the Green Lantern Corps. Now, when we're talking about powers and capabilities, the reason why he's the leader of the Green Lantern Corps is because of his strategic capability and his prowesses as a person and leadership ability, right? So let's look at some of his let's look at some of his I would say his feats. Similarly, when we looked at Jean Grey, right? So let's bring up some pictures. I'm just gonna drag over some pictures so that we could look, and then soon we're gonna get into a battle. Okay, so this is one of his. While some people would think about this as like a small feat, this is actually a really big feat. This is him going to a planet, and the planet is plagued in a sense, and he creates a cure for that plague using the ingenuity of himself and also his abilities, right? So he's able to create cures, right? Cures for diseases and things of that nature. Can he create them for all different types of diseases? Not sure, but what we do see here is that this is one of the feats that he poses. Here's another example, and I'm using examples from his earlier comic book days so that we could kind of grasp some of the feats and potential that he has. Here's an example of him, him and the rest of the Justice League, basically facing against some foes, right? And he is able to basically uh, fly behind them, go around the world and fly behind them at superhuman speeds, right? So he's done that, right? So as you can see in this last panel, he flew behind them before they even got a chance to turn around, right? So that kind of gives you understanding into his powers and potential, right? In terms of uh, just in terms of his personality, this is a quick panel of him, or panels of him, basically meeting up with Superman and him telling him, "Don't even make a move," right? So for him to do that leads into a couple of things, right? Means he knows how powerful Superman is, but he doesn't really care. He doesn't feel like that he can't hold his own, right? So it's pretty amazing in terms of where Green Lantern is. I'm gonna bring up a couple more pictures so that we could check out his feats. Here's another one, and for this one, let's make it a little bit bigger. Can I even make this one a little bit bigger? Yeah, I can. Basically, his ability as a Green Lantern is to create constructs. Now, he's one of the most creative Green Lanterns out there. His ability to make constructs are second to none, right? He's made constructs such as the sniper rifle, things of that nature, and many more, right? So, uh, yeah, it's pretty amazing in terms of his potential and his abilities, and in terms of what you guys are posting in the chat. I will get to the chat in a little bit, but I want to stay focused on the topic at hand, so that when we get to the voting process and the debate process, we can truly discuss what's going on with the video itself, right? So now let's continue, right? In terms of me kind of like wrapping up in terms of Green Lantern, one of his highest abilities that we've seen so far is the one that I'm about to post right now, right? Everyone goes back to this one picture, this one panel of imagery right here. Now, this is the destruction of a whole entirety of I want to say a small universe, right? Or a solar system, sorry. Not a universe, but a solar system. So this is Green Lantern exceeding the powers of his Green Lantern ring in terms of willpower, which it is bound by, and he uses it to construct a whole entirety of this solar system. He constructs and recreates a solar system. Now, when you think about what that actually means in terms of creation and ability and ingenuity, in terms of architecture for a person's mind itself, it lends itself to the understanding that he is well capable in terms of his mental prowesses, right? So let's go back, and I'm going to close out some of these imageries right here, right? For a Green Lantern. So we're seeing him create constructs, things of that nature, him going on a mental scale and just being like very brave against Superman and not really caring about his capability, him going super fast behind another opponent and coming behind them against him, looping around the whole entirety of the world, right? And then this is him creating a cure, right, for a virus that then plagued a planet here. And there we go. So that's our verses. So let's get into the comment section. I did see a couple of comments here earlier, and I want to get back into it. So Steven said, so I'm torn because the ring for John is basically Jean Grey's power without manifestation of what the mind could conjure. That's a really great point. So in terms of like, yeah, Jean is basically doing that, but and she could create constructs, right? Her constructs are basically psionic, meaning that it's mental constructs, so she can do it. Now, the thing that I would debate on is then who's more creative in terms of their ability of the constructs themselves, right? I would argue that John Stewart is more capable in terms of his imagination to create constructs. Now, that does lead the question, is that enough, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Instagram. So I did post this on my Instagram as well, everyone. And my Instagram was the voting process to see who would win in terms of the battle, right? Now I'm going to give you my viewpoint on who do I think would win, and even if this was a sound battle, right? So we have on my Instagram, I think I'm about to share the results right now, and we're gonna. So this is a unanimous. This is a unanimous battle here. Okay, so everyone thought that this one person would definitely win. I thought it was interesting, but they did think that one person would win. And Steven said he also has battle experience and he's older, right? So one of the things that why I argued for this character is because of his battle experience, his tactical ability, and his leadership potential. Now Jean Grey has shown heavy feats in current comic books, right? From her process of dying, rebirth, and coming back, she's no longer the little girl that we saw in the beginning phases of the XMen, right? Who's kind of helpless, and Cyclops comes to save her, even though she has wildly powerful abilities. Now she's at a point where she doesn't really need anyone's help, right? She's the one who provides the help for people in terms of her powers, right? But the one thing that I think everyone has argued for in the Instagram is that her ability to invade the mind is second to none. And whilst John Stewart does have high levels of willpower that could combat that telepathy, her powers to divulge a whole entire planet of telepathy in terms of communication, matched with the ability to invade a person's mind and to create nightmares or alternate versions of a possible mental escape or reality, are second to none. Which is why, for this battle, everyone did pick Jean Grey as 100% on this Instagram. So everyone voted for her. It was no contest, right? Yeah, it was no contest in this sense. Well, I thought it was a good battle, but you know what? I still think it's a good battle. Let's see on a fan base level what that match could look like if there was a match. I'm going to put up a video, not a video, but it's a matchup of the two characters. So we're going to check them out, and I'm going to comment about that battle after. So let's do it. So this is a game called Mugen, and it's one of the games that I've played in my younger days, and it's still being played right now, right? So we're going to take a look at this battle and kind of see who would win, right? So I'm not going to play music because of copyright thingamajiggy, but we're going to see who would win. Let's do it. We're going to go for a battle of 3 for 3, best out of 3. Let's see. While this battle is loading up, it's taking a while to load up. Not too sure if hopefully the video could handle it, right? But I'm going to check back in a little bit. But
good news is my
Cyclops,
ring seems to pack an extra.
why don't we have a little sparring session after this mission?
Get ready.
Fight!
Okay, we have Jean Grey using some psionic versions of with psionic force fields and then you see John Stewart is utilizing projections and constructs in order to hold her attack. She's throwing at it. I don't know who's going to win this one.
Beware of our power.
And as you can see, John Stewart is using some really creative constructs in this sense. Let's turn on the volume a little bit so that we can hear better. Okay. So this is John Stewart basically using a construct to create some type of metal slug based item like a tank, right? And from the looks of it, Jean Grey just seems to be blocking. That is all she's doing. Let's move this over a little bit so that we can see better. Okay. Okay, Jean Grey just seems to be blocking. Not so much of a tactic, but I guess in terms of the artificial intelligence, trying to figure out ways to overcome this. Now, would this happen in a real battle? I don't know, it depends. And there she is overcoming it with the psionic micro phoenix. And while she is tapping into a Phoenix-based force, it is still kind of the version of it.
Sometimes I don't know my own strength.
And there goes a throwback to the Miss Marvel
Round
girl.
two,
So it goes to Jean Grey gets that first match. And it looks like John Stewart was stunned. Using psionics and psionic micro phoenixes and using the Gatling gun from John Stewart himself.
My turn.
I don't know about this one. It looks like everyone's vote was kind of correct in terms of who would win this battle. This is the best out of 3. Oh, so this is Green Stewart using the highest echelon of visibility now turning. It's not enough though. It's not enough.
Sometimes I don't know my own
He utilized it and turned the whole entire arena into a construct itself. So that winner does go to Jean Grey. Let's go for one more to kind of see if it evens out. And we're going to go into another arena.
Cyclops,
Shall escape
why don't we
my
have a
sight.
little sparring session after this mission?
Hey, okay.
Get ready.
All right, psych. Okay. Let's see what's happening now. Okay, there we go. Using a little bit of projection and combos, and John Stewart using some kind of force fields in order to make way, but using that super speed as well. Now, this is what we were talking about. Jean Grey invaded the mind of John Stewart to then create a landscape. And like we spoke about before, John Stewart utilizing the sniper rifle construct to then get a far distance, right? Using that tactical ability. Is it enough though? Is it enough to make a comeback? I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's enough to make a comeback? Ah man, it goes to Jean.
Sometimes I don't know my own strength.
Round 2, fight.
Okay.
Your mind is weak.
Oh man. Oh, so here's John Stewart blocking it, right? Using his willpower in order to block it. Is that enough though? The match is getting intense, and from the looks of it, let's move this over a little bit. Oh man, is this gonna be enough? So as we can see, we can't really see the constructs themselves, but John Stewart was utilizing kind of like a Gatling gun again, but Jean Grey's power is quite overwhelming. It looks like, guys, this match is it's coming to a close. Will John Stewart be able to do anything? Can he do anything to match off against Jean Grey? It looks like in terms of, yep, and it goes to Jean Grey. It looks like in terms of fighting ability.
Sometimes I don't know my own strength.
Throwback to the 90s version of Jean Grey. All right, team, let's bring it back. It looks like even on a fan level or a CPU-based level, Jean Grey would win in terms of their capabilities. The funny thing is that a lot of what we talked about in terms of their capability and prowesses did come up in this battle, right? In terms of the Gatling gun and for John Stewart, the constructs, the ability to change the whole landscape for John Stewart was previewed in that battle itself. Now for Jean Grey, she utilized all of her powers. She invaded his mind, created a new landscape where it was just infecting his ability to just win. Did he try to fight back? He did, but again, Jean Grey is a Omega level mutant, meaning that she has one ability that is beyond a world-class ability, right? That can affect people on the highest echelon with unlimited or seemingly unlimited potential. And that goes to her telepathy. So this battle definitely goes to Jean Grey. Now, maybe I should have picked someone who's a little bit more capable to go against him. I thought it was a creative battle, right? I still think that John Stewart would have held his own for a little bit in terms of his willpower, matching his willpower to then create some kind of mental barrier for himself. Would it have been enough? No, but I wanted to see how this battle would go technically. So This is Zen from Zen World saying peace, love, and prosperity. If you're enjoying my content, drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know who do you want to see on the next battle from DC versus Marvel, or even Marvel versus Capcom, or even DC versus Sega. I don't know, anything like that. Let me know, drop it in the comment section after this video. Take care, everyone. Peace.